Welcome to PM Express Business Edition. There have been calls to move to cash-like transaction following the bullion attacks on vans that we've actually seen. But as we push for this change, do we have the right level of infrastructure and support to aid this move? What about the cultural and cost issues as well? And what about the current systems and products in place as one of the institutions that is leading this drive or supposed to help address this change and all the cost concerns? Are they justified? Ghana's cash-light agenda and the state of infrastructure is on PM Express as I engage Mr. Achihesi. He's Chief Executive of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System. Right with me, live in the studio. We're taking all your concerns, questions as well. That's here on PM Express Business Edition. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition as we look at Ghana's cash-light agenda and the state of infrastructure and one institution that is championing, leading this whole cash-light agenda or playing a very significant role is the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System. And I say that I'm so grateful to have with me in studio here the Chief Executive, Mr. Achihesi. So thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much, George, for having us.
And before this program, lots of concerns, a lot of questions and all those, and that is why, listen, you are part of this program. You can send your questions via WhatsApp on the 054010909, and the number would also be appearing on your screen as well, 054010909. All your concerns about cash-light, using the various e-switch products, QR code, and all those things. He is the Chief Executive and he's here to answer all your questions that you have with respect to going cash-light. I've had lots of calls before this program and all your concerns. This is the time to ask the Chief Executive, 054010909. As you can take your concerns here via WhatsApp and also our various social media handles. So in this whole bullion one discussion, the issue has come about going cash-light and all the rest. But first, how are you doing?
Very well. Under the current dispensation, I think,
restrictions are being eased a little bit, things are getting back. Have we seen, we saw the numbers spike during the restrictions. Have things changed, or people have now got into the whole craze quote about how easier it is to work through these platforms, so still the numbers are going up?
Yes, they are actually galloping as we speak, and I think these are habits that they've actually come to stay. We're talking about the real-time payments, where you and I, we are able to move funds from one bank account to another instantly. The most used service is the one mobile network to another and vice versa. These real-time payments, the volumes there are really galloping. In terms of I think your original question was, do we have the necessary infrastructure to move Ghana into a cash-light society? And the answer is yes, yes, yes. If I look at the platforms that we have in Ghana and the products or the services that rise on these platforms, we have, in the world of payments, we have three main platforms. The clearing house, which comprises of the checks payments, the ACH, the batch payment, and the ACH direct debit and ACH direct credit. In Ghana, as we speak, when we look at check clearing, it's cleared same day or next day.
That is what is happening as we speak right now. And
right
if I issue a check, it doesn't come with any extra cost. And we'll be getting into the cost argument as well.
I think the cost seems to be your favorite area.
It's a genuine concern.
It is a concern. However, we're talking about the services. Are the services available? And the answer is yes. When it comes to check clearing, we are able as a country to clear our checks either same day, we have express service, or next day. Then we also have the ACH direct credit, which is mainly used for salary payment, bulk salary payments. We also have the express, which means that within 4 hours you'll be paid, and the next day as well. We've actually, and these are session-based, which means that you present your bulk files at a particular time, and then payments are effected. We've realized that there is a need for bulk payments, however, to move away from the session-based, which means that companies are able to effect payment without tying it to a particular time. Somewhere last year, we introduced the ACH near real time. So in Ghana, we are able to effect bulk payments. It's not session-based, and beneficiaries' accounts are credited within 15 minutes.
So if a company wants to move like 50 million Ghana cedis
to maybe about 12,000 beneficiaries, and the deadline is maybe around 4 o'clock, they can start the process.
They have to get all those things, it can be done.
They can start around 3:30, and everybody will be paid in that regard. And these are remarkable products that we have. Away from the clearinghouse services, when we come to the card services as well in Ghana, we have what we call the GH Link network. So it means that if you have your card from Bank A, you are able to use Bank B's ATM, point of sale device, as well as e-commerce. In Ghana, we also have our own homegrown EMV or chip and pin scheme, which we've also christened it GH Link. We also have the eSwitch platform, which is heavily used by government for bulk verified payments.
It's still working, eSwitch.
eSwitch is phenomenal. I mean, if you look,
we've not had the craze and those things
that's what happens.
Down.
That's what normally happens when things are working. As we speak, most government agents use the eSwitch platforms to make payments. We're talking about national service, the leave, the social grants, the student nurses. We're talking about the school feeding programs, and so on and so forth. It's mainly used by the transport sector, the health sector, and the gender ministry, as well as Greek, actually. I nearly forgot that sector. So government is really using the eSwitch platform for payments. Then comes the last rail, which is what we call the instance or the real time. And it comes with services like moving funds from one account to another, or an account to a wallet, or a wallet to an account, or a wallet to eSwitch. That is the interoperability platform that I'm talking about. George, it's also important that for you to note that whilst we are offering these services, we are also creating convenience to make it easier for you and I to use. I'm sure you are aware that we also have a service called Proxy Pay, whereby one is able to pay you instantly if I know your bank account number. But in the absence of that, you can go to your bank and link your account number to, or replace your account number to your telephone number. Businesses can also use the name of their businesses. So going forward, if I have to pay you, George Uafi, I don't know your bank account number, but I know your telephone number, and I'm able to pay you conveniently using your telephone number, and the funds will be credited into your account instantly. We also have the request to pay, which is also used for the services sector. And then we have the universal GHQR, which more or less replaces the point of sale, but in the real time. I believe you will be coming to
that. But let me, apart from when I look at the values, I've seen a spike. Have we seen a growth in consumer numbers getting onto these platforms? Therefore, that we can say that, okay, maybe just a company A could come on, do about a 20 or 50 million transaction, we see the value going up. But have we seen growth in numbers, be it individuals or businesses, over this period, that it appears that our argument, our push in moving to cash light is working? Maybe the numbers might be good, but we are still alternating between 10 to 20 people.
Yes, what you are talking about is maybe we might have repetitive users as opposed to a broad spectrum using it. When it comes to corporates, the corporates prefer to use the ACH, the clearinghouse products, which is the automated clearinghouse and then the checks environment. That's what we've realized. And when it comes to the cards environment, that's more mainly used by individuals. Now, when we move to the real-time instant payment as well, it's also mainly used by individuals. And if you look at the volumes for clearinghouse, the cards payment, as well as the instant or the real-time rails, all the volumes are growing. The values are growing, especially in the real-time area. The volumes are galloping. The values are huge, but when you come to the clearinghouse, the volumes are not as much because they are corporate services, corporate platforms, but the values are very huge in that regard. So it's a clear indication that it's not just used by a small section of the of individuals or companies, but it's used across white-collar jobs. Right. Precisely. I mean, when it comes to salary payments and you look at the ACH, the volumes that you have, it's mainly used. And don't forget that every bank uses our platform because our platform provides a central service for all banks to connect to. So you might go into or log on to your bank's app and transfer money to me. What you don't know is your bank is connected to the national switch, and it's the national switch that facilitates the transfer from one bank account to another.
But let's look at stakeholder buying. And before this program again, someone told me that, George, I went to a shop. This shop had a POS. It was put somewhere. I insisted I wanted to use this POS device. They are charging it. They brought it. It was not working and all the rest. In terms of stakeholder buying, I remember some time ago, there were some issues with some of the commercial banks as to the cost of buying your POS and all the rest. It appears that in the past, and I don't know what it is now, that it was more of forcing people to accept it. And so we are doing it because it's coming from GIPS. We are doing it because it's coming from Bank of Ghana. As we speak right now, what is the level of stakeholder buying? Let's look at the individuals, let's look at the banks, the business community, and even government as well.
I think when we started roughly 14 years ago, where
with eSwitch, right?
With eSwitch, exactly, yeah. And it was a central bank initiative initially, and the whole idea was the platform, the eSwitch platform, was going to be used to address a specific situation in the country, which is the unbanked, and that was when there was this dependency on the biometric point of sale device that was expensive to roll out, etc. And we had some of these frictions that you are talking about. Then we move on to modernize the check clearing system in the country, which before then, it took about 3 days within Accra region to clear. And then we move out of inter-regional checks were cleared within, it takes about a week, 2 weeks, etc. When we modernized it to same day and next day, the whole corporate system embraced it. They loved it. So we move from turning out systems and platforms, because the eSwitch was alien at that time. But clearing of checks, everybody knows it. And what we have done is made it shorter. So it was easy for individuals to embrace it. When it comes to the cards as well, the GH link, before that, you can only use your bank's ATM or your bank's point of sale device. Now we've created convenience. So the convenience has made it easier for both individuals, corporates, and banks and the various sectors to embrace the products. And as you rightly know, everybody is in a hurry, and the world is now moved towards instant payment. And instant payment means that when transactions occur, the merchant or the business will receive their funds instantly, as opposed to the card rails where they receive their funds the following day. So everybody, individuals, commerce, everybody is gravitating towards the instant rails. I'm sure if I send you money now and I send it via check or I send it via instant, which one would you prefer? You prefer the instant because there's time value of money. So we are moving towards the instant rails. So because it's moving from a physical cash, which is instant, to electronic cash, which is instant and safer. Everybody is
Are the
embracing
numbers at your end supporting this?
The numbers are supported. I knew you were going to come to that. So actually, I'm not as clever as you are. So I actually took some of the numbers.
Okay.
And if you look at, I don't know if I can quote some of the numbers.
Why not? You can do them, seriously.
Yeah, just by looking at volumes, where in 2017, if looking at the cumulative figures, just for real-time rails, when we started, it was 41,000 in the first year. 2018, it was 2.4 million transactions. 2019, 11 million. 2020, it was 50 million. And this year, just up to May, we have chalked 44 million already. That's a clear indication that...
This is the real time for
precisely
which kind of product offering here?
Yeah, we're talking about the account to account and account to mobile wallet, etc. That's what we call the real time.
44 million transactions. That's
precisely, from January to May.
So the transactions are picked up?
Really picked up. I mean, if you look at January to May, it's roughly 5 months, and that's 44. And the whole of last year, we made 50 million. So if you double 44, which is not even the whole year, we're talking about 88. So I'm envisaging ending the year with 120 million transactions.
Let's look at one critical institution being government, and your brothers, your sisters, your colleagues. I was expecting that every parasitical institution that I walk to, the numbers are there, the QR codes are there, and we'll be coming to get more understanding of this whole QR code thing and what it's supposed to be doing and all those things. And it's expecting that you have all those short code numbers and all those things there, because then if government is supposed to drive this whole cash light agenda, how are things in terms of working with the ministries, department, agencies, and all these parasitical institutions out there, also about the stakeholder buying and engagement?
Well, it's going very well. If you look at the fact that the e-switch, like you rightly said, is heavily used by governments now.
So now as we speak right now, is it for all the government institutions, or just some of them, or majority of them being paid with their workers through the e-switch platform?
We're not talking about civil servants here, but if you look at most of government interventions, programs, like I said, the national service, everybody on an annual basis are paid via e-switch. If you look at the school feeding programs, these are millions of school feeders, individuals who actually cook food for students. They are all paid via that method. Student nurses. So basically, every sector, if I remember correctly, the Greek sector as well uses it for cocoa payments, etc. So, of course, mining sector to a less extent, but areas where we have volume payments and they need good records of it, they are heavily using the system, which once upon a time, that wasn't the case. So we used to go around asking government, but now they come to us. So the tables have turned now in that regard. And that's a clear indication that they have actually embraced the system. Yeah.
But are we getting most of, sorry to go back there, are we getting most of them on board now, or it is still work in progress? Because some will say that, listen, if government is supposed to be driving this whole cash light agenda, then we should have almost all the government agencies taking the lead, and that could also deal with the behavioral and cultural issues as well.
Yeah, if you look at what the current government is also supporting when it comes to the various government, like the revenue collection agencies, they've come to realize that, look, the platforms are there. What they need to do now is to come out with regulations and rules which says that from this particular day, we are no longer going to accept cash again, and that we will start accepting electronic payments. Because quite frankly, George, there's no payment infrastructure anywhere in the world that we don't have in Ghana. So you're right. So what is left is for all government agencies as opposed to the ones that are currently using. So we need to work more with them and ensure that everybody, that becomes the norm in the country. So yes, it's a work in progress.
I'll quickly come back to the bit about moving forward and whether you think that, or let me do that quickly, that whether you think that we've gotten to the stage where, just like maybe other countries, it should now be compulsory in terms of this whole cash light agenda. Should we start forcing down that if you want to pay ex-government agency, because if it hadn't been covered, I knew the government was trying to roll out a whole national cash light agenda where almost all transactions will be done through these platforms. Do you think that we've gotten to that stage where, and again, the question about the infrastructure, if the infrastructure is there, should we now move away from moral suasion to you have to use it?
I think when you have initiatives of this sort, national initiatives of this sort, you can't hurry it. First and foremost, government needs to have confidence that the center can hold. I think we've gotten to the stage where government have now realized that the platforms from GIBS in terms of system availability and what do you call it, sustainability, not sustainability, availability and reliability of our systems is very high. The SLAs we have with our stakeholders is 99.9%. And consistently, we've been able to fulfill that. So we've gotten to the stage where when you talk about systems provisioning from GIBS, oh yes, we have the confidence. Now that the confidence is there, other stakeholders are now working towards it. It's a combination of several things. The system stability is first. So now what can we do? We can use pricing. And there are, if you look at the COVID was an interesting one. If it wasn't for COVID, I don't believe that you and I would be using mobile money and this remote payment. But the need came. And when the need came, what happened? The infrastructure was there. So the first thing that we need to do is to have the infrastructure. Now we have it. COVID has helped. There are other factors as well, like government can come out with measures like from this day onwards, we are not going to accept physical cash payments again.
Let me sorry to come in. When or when should be that date? Looking at the level of infrastructure that you have right now, do you think that is, borrowing the political language, self-government now, self-government later?
I don't understand the political language, but
should we do it now?
So far as we are concerned, from the infrastructure provisioning point of view, we are ready. If government wants to go that way, I mean, the systems,
you have the infrastructure,
we have the infrastructure,
a cash light, a total 100%,
a total 100%. We have the, not just in terms of system availability and reliability, but in terms of the range of payment systems that I've described. There are very, very few countries who, with all these services and their cash light agenda, is far more advanced.
It appears you're not talking about them.
I'm sorry?
You're not making noise about all this infrastructure that is in place. Because
it's not a question of noise. It's a question of letting
the public appreciate.
Precisely. So what you realize that we're going to start embarking on a lot more. It's education awareness, and working with various stakeholders so that they can experience it first time, and that takes time. But that's the journey that we've started.
So you're ready if I'm the president and I ask them, say, are you ready for me? Can I issue a fiat that from maybe the third quarter or from maybe January next year we are going a total cash light? Are you ready for me?
I think we are. From so far as the center is concerned, the GIBS systems are concerned, yes, we are. Of course, the various government bodies as well would need to ensure that they also have systems that are connected to ours to be made available to their customers. But so far as system reliability and availability from our end is concerned, yes, we are ready.
To the layman, help me out when you talk about having the right systems in place. I mean, so if today I'm in Tumu, there is no internet, I still want to carry out a transaction, is there a platform that I can use to do that, the real time and all those things? Help me out, just for the lay person on the street.
Okay, if you happen to be in Tumu, what kind of transaction do you want to perform? You want to send money to a friend? Where is your money? Is it in your bank account or is it in your mobile money wallet?
Bank account, mobile money?
Well, if it's in the bank accounts, and most banks, they have either a mobile app that is connected to your bank account and you can effect the payment. In the absence of, you spoke about internet challenges, you can then use the USSD version of it. Most banks have their USSD, and you can also use that as an alternative. And you can transfer funds from your bank account to another bank account. But in terms of internet connectivity, I think the coverage is now very good. We're nationwide. So you shouldn't have challenges as we did before 10 years ago.
I try to open up this thing for your comments and concerns as we engage the Chief Executive of Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, Mr. Achihesi, as we look at Ghana's cash light agenda and the state of our infrastructure to support your drive to us to minimize the use of cash in our day-to-day transactions. And you can send your comments, concerns via WhatsApp on 0540109. And I think I have some concerns. That's from Ras Akito. Says that I use mobile money interoperability, and when I type the *500#, it is not working. Why do I have to pay 10 Ghana cedis for every amount when using this service? That charges must drop to encourage. So we are getting into the cost argument here. No matter how that person might seem to be rich, it appears that people have issues with the amount of money that they pay in trying to carry out this transaction.
George, you are right. Most places that we go to, we hear about the cost of electronic transactions, cost of electronic transactions. It's in that regard why the central bank set up the Payments Advisory Committee that comprises of the various stakeholders from the banking sector, the mobile money network, the fintechs, Ministry of Finance, etc., to look at this. Before the committee started their work, I think mobile money transactions ranged between 1.5 or so to 2%. As we speak now, the new pricing structure that I'm conversant with starts with, I think, issuers as a bank or a mobile money company can charge no more than 1% for a sender. So as we speak in this country, I don't think there's anybody who would pay more than 1%. Indeed.
Of the total value.
Yes, and I believe there's a cap as well. Indeed, the regulation says issuers are allowed to charge up to 1%. There are some institutions that have set their fees to 0. There are others that have set their fees to 0.1% of the value. So you need to shop around and look for service providers with less charges. But I don't believe that there's anybody in this country today who would pay anything more than 1%.
Haven't we gotten to that stage where shopping around becomes a disincentive at the stage where we want everybody to get on board? So that, again, some level of fiat and compelling players might help to say that, listen, don't go beyond a percentage of this, so that we can force, because engaging a lot of people, apart from the infrastructure issue, but which have given us the assurance that everything, it appears that cost and people enjoy it. I send this money and they are charging me this. And you might think the person has money, but the person is also concerned about the cost of transacting that transaction, if I can say that.
Yeah, George, I agree with you that the cost of transactions can be prohibitive. And it's in that regard why the central bank has formed a committee that is looking at all of these things. Rome was not built in a day. They've started, who knows? It's a volume game. Today, the current stage that we are at, no entity should charge more than 1%. Maybe in 6 months' time, the committee would sit again and decide that, look, let's reduce that maximum charge to 0.5%. So as time goes on, we expect the cost of transactions to go downwards. It's a volume game. We've started from whatever it was up to what we have now. If you look at the cards environment, you and I used to use international scheme cards to try to withdraw funds from ATMs and also make payments at the point of sale. It was quite expensive. It was in that regard why the central bank introduced the GH Link card, which is a cheaper version of the chip and pin. And if you use your GH Link card now to withdraw funds, the cost is very low. So there is a conscious effort to ensure that all these costs go down. If you look at what do you typically do, you either transfer from A to B or you make purchases. That's basically what happens. Now look at the new product, the GHQR code. How much will it cost you to pay someone using your GHQR code? It's free. Absolutely free.
So I should migrate to that.
I'm sorry?
That. I should migrate to the
So far as precisely. So far as I'm concerned, this is the time where we have the GHQR code. All businesses must go in for their GHQR universal GHQR code from either their bank or their mobile money network if you are with a mobile money company or if you are with a fintech, so that all your customers cannot come and pay electronically free without paying anything. So the alternatives are there. You need to be, what we need to do, which you are right, is for us to create more awareness, more education, and ensure that everybody is aware of it, then they would make an informed decision.
So let's see, I'll be coming back to you to explain to me how this whole GR code thing
universal
GHQ actually works, because it appears you see it as a game changer and
precisely.
The cost concerns.
It is a real game changer.
Do I get from you that from the workings of the committee and as time goes on, you're working to deal with this cost issue that will be reduced as time goes on?
Precisely. You have our assurance that we work with all our stakeholders led by the central bank, and we ensure that the costs.
That's a promise coming from, because it appears, and when I engage everyone, and
cost is a major, precisely.
For them.
You see, cost is
listen, I would, and someone say, okay, then I'll even pick my car and go and give it. I'll even walk, and it's not that the person cannot afford, but he or she sees that charge as a disincentive to get onto that platform.
We have done a lot about it, and we'll continue to do our best to reduce the cost of transactions. Yeah.
And we'll get there.
We'll get there. Well, maybe what we should start doing is publishing it.
I think so, because it appears that people feel that some of these intermediaries...
I think there is this misconception as well that it's expensive. Because when I transfer funds from an account to another account using my mobile apps from my bank, I don't pay more than 5 cedis. When you're transferring huge sums of money. So far as I'm concerned, the cost compared to what it was before is far, far, far cheaper now than before. But I'm not saying that we are there yet. It's a journey, like I said, but the direction is down, and we'll ensure that we achieve that. Because it's going to be a mass product. So as the volume increases, the unit cost also goes down. And it's only prudent that we ensure that the cost goes down. The unit cost for the users also goes down.
You think that, and I asked you this the other time, that do you think that we should now make it more hard for people to request for physical cash to use? If the various electronic channels are there to be used, that barrier, because it saves us a lot of money in printing and reissuing currencies, in terms of even trails of transactions to identify the billionaires out there, and even for tax purposes as well. The benefits far outweigh the other way in trying to rather make it easier for people to use physical cash.
You're right, George, in saying that what are some of the things that we should put in place to speed up the time taken for us to move into a cashless society. And then that's one of the ways that we could do, where we can introduce things like, if you take cash to a bank to deposit it, you pay an amount of money. If you withdraw cash, you pay X amount of money. Or if you are making a purchase and it's 10 cedis and you want to use cash to pay, you pay maybe 11 cedis at a premium for using cash. And maybe those premiums can be used to subsidize the electronic payments. I think these are some of the things that we can consider, but it's something that the Payment Advisory Committee precisely should look at and come and give us direction.
Listen, we'll take a short break. When we are back, I want you to help me out to understand this whole universal QR code.
The universal GHQR code.
Precisely. I am struggling.
I'm too happy. I'm very excited.
So that the whole argument about cost,
precisely,
I now have an alternate to use. This is PM Express Business Edition. And your views, your concerns are welcome on 054-0109-009 and all our various social media platforms. As you look at Ghana's cash Lite agenda, do we have the infrastructure to support it? And also the cost concerns that you are raising. I'm engaging the Chief Executive of the Ghana Interbank Payments and Settlement Systems, Archie Hesse. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome to PM Express Business Edition. As you look at Ghana's cash light agenda and the state of our infrastructure, are you ready? Are the regulators ready? Are the players ready in our quest to reduce the handling of cash? And Mr. Achiesi, Chief Executive of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, spearheading this together with the Bank of Ghana and other players in the industry. And one thing that Mr. Achiesi was trying to get some understanding, which from the education, it's less expensive to use, is the GHQR code. Now,
right.
Help me out. How does this thing actually work?
Okay.
So I've seen that you brought a demonstration.
Yes, I did.
You really meant business, not just to talk over the head.
Yes, I'm glad you realized that. So for your viewers, and this is the universal GHQR code. Now, why this is something that I would ask every merchant, any business owner,
where the merchant is
to go in for.
A business owner.
A business owner.
Right.
So anybody who sells products or services must go in for the universal GHQR code.
Okay.
Now, what is it? These black and white boxes you see there contains information of your bank account or of your mobile money wallet account. So if I am a business person and I sell, let's say, for example, I sell telephones.
Okay.
And I belong to a bank, instead of having a point of sale device, which is what is used if you want to accept cards, in the real-time world, the QR code replaces the point of sale device because it's expensive. That's why we don't have a lot of them in town. So your bank will generate the universal QR code, these black and white pixels for you. And when anybody comes in, if you transact, you are able to scan the QR code and then you are able to make payments to. I will demonstrate it to you in a short while. Because we are mindful of the fact that we are in Ghana and it's not everybody who carries a smartphone, we have what do you call it, a terminal number at the bottom of the black and white pixels as well. So if you use a feature phone or a YAM phone as it's called in Ghana, you go to your bank or your financial service provider's USSD. As soon as you go through the menu, you will see paying a GHQR merchant. Then you type in this terminal code. And that is the same as the smartphone. And it is universal because once you have it, from the merchant's point of view, if you are a bank account holder, your bank is able to generate one for you. If you do not have a bank account and you have a mobile money account, your mobile money account operator will be able to generate one for you to receive payment. If you also have a fintech wallet, fintechs are also able to generate one for you. So irrespective of whether you are with a bank or you are with a mobile money company or you are with a fintech, they should be able to generate the universal GHQR code for you. Now let's come to the customer's end. I'm a bank account holder and I have a smartphone. Okay. It's not mine anyway, it's given to me by my company. Okay. And I belong. So I'm going into my bank's app. I've made a purchase and it's very secure because I'm going through the security to give me access to my account via the app. So George, you can see I'm now in my, my bank mobile app. And what do you say there?
It says scan
and pay. So if I press scan and pay, all I have to do is to show it. And what is it? You can see it.
Yeah.
So it was buffering. And now I can see the merchant's name, the terminal ID, which is 100, exactly what is in there. And that's my bank account. And all I have to do is to type in the amount,
10 CD.
Confirm, send, and that's it. Payment has been effected. And that's how simple it is. The beauty about the universal QR code is that it rides on the real-time rails.
So it means that when the payment is done, immediately I get my money.
Immediately, the merchant will receive notification on his or her phone. So it's important, business owners, that when you are being set up, please make sure that you actually give the telephone number of the tellers or those who sell, not the, most of it that not, you have the madam or the Mr. linking their personal phone to the QR code, and when notifications are sent, they might not be in the shop. But the beauty is that you immediately have access to your funds. It is lodged immediately into your account. So this universal QR code is replacing the point of sale. And like I said before, it is absolutely free.
I don't have to pay anything.
You don't have to pay anything.
Zero cost.
Zero cost.
Hidden charges anywhere.
Nothing at all. Zilch, Garnix, nothing at all. It's absolutely free to use. So my recommendation is that any business owner must go in for the universal QR code. And it's universal because irrespective of whether your customers are bank account customers or mobile money customers or fintech customers, they are still able to pay. It is universal across.
Mr. S, we have about 2 or 3 minutes. Time is really not our best friend. The issue about security fraud, and there are lots of WhatsApp messages, and I can't read them into our viewers and all those things. We're trying to wrap everything up and touch on the most important things. There's an issue about fraud.
Yes.
How are you, anything on your whole product offering, dealing with the fraud issue as well?
Oh, in terms of fraud, I mean, you know
System
that
is
secured. We have the international standards that we have. We have all the various ISO certifications. So when it comes to fraud, you never say 100%, but we are fairly certain that we are very good. We are in good shape. When it comes to this particular GHQR code, what most people tend to do in other jurisdictions is with this QR code, somebody can mask it with another QR code. So when you scan it or you dial your USSD, the name of the merchant will also show on your phone. So it's important to double check so that if you are buying from George Weafi and Sons, make sure that once you've scanned it, George Weafi and Sons is what shows on your phone. So we've made sure that we have taken all the various security recommendations into most of the things that we do.
Your final word, you think that you're ready infrastructure-wise, you're ready cultural issues,
yes, I think we are ready.
30 seconds
and the universal QR code is a magic bullet as at now because it solves all the various issues. I would there's a narration section which you can actually put your name or the purpose for the payment, etc. And I would not only encourage businesses, schools, all walks of life to go in for their universal QR code. And nothing even stops individuals from going for their own QR code. And if I want to give you money, I can just scan and make payments.
Time is just not our best friend, and loads of WhatsApp message. Maybe we have to do a part 2. It looks like lots of concerns out there. We'll see how it goes. But this is PM Express Business Edition. As we look at Ghana's cash Lite agenda, infrastructure-wise, the cost issues, and I know that debate will still go on in your homes and your offices as well, whether we are ready or not, the cost issues, the cultural issues as well. I'm George Jaffe. Have a great day.